welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom in Germany. Now we're going to take a look at Project Cars, joined by Andy Tudor, creative director on the game.
That's right.
Championship driver, Oliver Webb. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Project Cars.
Yes.
Hardcore racing sim. Open racing sim.
No.
No, not at all.
Let's get that straight away,
let's
right?
go back to the beginning. It's not a sandbox racing game. Tell me then.
So the word sandbox is appropriate to when we talk about career. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
But no, you know, we are the only like authentic Forza-like Gran Turismo style simulator like racing game this Christmas.
Right.
There are obviously other racing games here at Gamescom,
sure.
you know, but they're all in the kind of like action arcade kind of space.
You know, you're the only one on IGN Live, so you're
Right.
the only one coming to the show.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, we are. If you're looking for something which is more of a simulator, more authentic, a bit more of a mature racing game, like really immersive, like physics and fantastic features that people have been wanting in, like a game like this for a while. You know, like dynamic time of weather, dynamic time of day, weather. Pit stops, things like that. Then yeah, Project Cars is the only game for you this fall.
Oliver, did you provide your expertise?
Yeah, exactly. So I started working with the guys when they needed a car called the BAC Mono in the game, which I was doing some development with on the road. And we finished early that day, and I just asked to drive a couple of other cars, and it just went from there. It turned out I'd driven like 50, 60, 70% of the cars in the game in real life. So I was like, hey, well, let's do something here. And the guys were happy with that. I'd driven all the tracks that are in the game. So every time I came back from one of my race weekends that were raced with Formula 1 or Le Mans 24 Hours that's now got the license in the game, one of few, I could come back and say, hey, well, this curb's different now, or this car now has different brakes, so you can brake twice as late, and when you get on the power with this much, and you've got 2 wheels on the grass, the car will do this. So it makes it real sim-like game.
Yeah. I have to imagine that was very helpful, having it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at Slightly Mad Studios, we've been making games and racing games for like over 10 years now. So you know, we kind of like we have this history, this pedigree of doing that. But we have people like Ollie, people like the ex-Top Gear Stig, Ben Collins, people like Nicholas Hamilton coming on board, who give us that extra like fine detail that we just don't have access to, because these guys, as Ollie said, like they've driven these cars in real life. They've gone onto the track and know them off by heart. And as Ollie said, they change over time as well. So that's all like valuable stuff that helps us kind of stay step ahead of the competition and gives it like a real authentic feel.
Yeah, so like you were saying, you guys made Need for Speed Shift, Shift 2, Unleashed for EA, and then you guys did Test Drive Ferrari Racing Legends with Atari.
Yeah.
What made you want to strike out on your own with Project Cars?
Yeah, you know, so we wanted to do our own IP. You know, we worked on, as you said, 2 of the biggest racing franchises out there, right? But yeah, we've got our own like dreams, our own things that we want to get to and things like that. So yeah, we wanted to start our own franchise. So you know, we're not a fire and forget studio. We want to make sure that when Project Cars is released, like we're not instantly moving on to like the next big thing or whatever. You know, we plan on supporting Project Cars for a very long time. But yeah, we wanted to do our own thing, and therefore we knew we wanted to include the players from day one in that, which is why we did the whole game via a community-funded platform, which we call WMD Portal.
Right. Yeah, tell me about that community-based development.
Yeah. I mean, games take so long to make now, and they cost so much money that it would be extremely risky, right, to actually sit in the dark for 2 years and make a game and then just hope that the game that eventually comes out is what people actually want to play. So we knew when we were starting our own IP, our own franchise, we were going to do it our own way. Yeah, so we wanted to include the players like right from day one. So when we launched back in October 2012, players have been able to play the game every single day, every week, every month, give us feedback on that, write bug reports, help us actually make the game, right?
So what would you say are some of the most valuable insights that you gained from having the community providing you input on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's two-sided, really. I mean, obviously, one, we have to kind of like teach people how we make video games, you know, to a audience of people who maybe have never been exposed to this before. You know, we are the first like AAA game to actually have been done like this. So obviously, you know, we have to teach people how we make games, but then equally, those guys then say, why are you doing this instead of this? So it actually makes us like question our own practices and like redefine our own like pipeline and the way we make games, things like that. So I think we come up with the occasional feature, and then the community go, oh, that sounds cool. What about this feature though? What about this feature? And like it snowballs from there, and like ultimately, Project Cars, when it's released, has been is full of features and things like that that the community have like asked for that maybe we didn't think of originally.
Is this a model you want to continue using on future games?
I think any game, right, can benefit from speaking directly to the players. You know, if you look at what Cliffy B is doing with Boss Key at the moment, they're doing a very similar thing. If you look at like the success stories of like Double Fine on Kickstarter, you know, they're including players right from day one. So I think any game, regardless of genre, regardless of what type of game it is, can benefit from talking to the actual people who are eventually going to be playing your game. You know, it makes you hit a really high quality bar and gives you confidence while you're making it that what you're making is actually what people actually want to play.
You have real world locations for people to race?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the largest track roster of any recent racing game. So like when Ollie's saying like how long is 60-70% of the tracks you've driven in real life?
More. I mean, 60-70% of the cars, but around 90% of the tracks.
There you go. So like we've got one of the largest track rosters of any racing game. We're kind of like gradually drip feeding that release on our website, and yeah, we hope that when players kind of get into seeing this, like you'll see like, wow, we've got a lot of licenses in there, a lot of real world locations, and they're all authentically recreated by our artists.
Looks like you've got some pretty impressive weather effects happening here.
Yeah, so weather was one of the #1 community requested features. And certainly it's something that like affects you in real life, right? So whenever we make new features in any of our games, we always have like 2 columns we split things into. One is best in class, and one is innovative features. So when we attempt, you know, when we look at when we're going to implement weather, we want it to be best in class. We want it to be awesome. You know, there are other games here that have weather. Yeah, we want ours to be absolutely awesome. But also we want it to be innovative as well. So we want it to add variety in terms of the visuals. We want it to be, wow, it's got loud in here all of a sudden. League of Legends must be doing something.
Gamescom is a really loud show.
But we also want it to have additional gameplay and additional level of challenge, okay? So if you look back on our previous products, when we introduced night racing in Shift, you know, we looked at things like Resident Evil. We didn't, you know, Resident Evil is, you've got a flashlight, you're going around in the dark, you don't know what's coming around the next corner, it's very scary. And you've driven at night as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a new challenge that a lot of other games don't have in true effect. Earlier this year I raced at the Daytona 24 Hours. That's a completely floodlit track. You can't even tell when it's night or day. In real life, that makes it a lot easier. So when you go to the Nürburgring Nordschleife 24 Hours, where it's pitch black and you've just got people's campfires in the corner with a bit of smoke, the only thing where you can see is just your headlights. You don't know what's around the corner, like Resident Evil. It's just that added extra factor of fear and that immerses your emotion into the game. And the detail that the game's gone to, which I love, is things like where the sunrise and sunsets, where the rain comes in. It's all how it is in real life on the track. So not only your racing fan, or your true real racer, or your really keen gamer, these guys will really know the effort that's gone into the game when the sun rises and blinds you in the corner where it does in real life.
Sure. So when you're providing your input, you guys take that information, you build it into the game, and then do you actually get to like test it out and see how it feels, see if it's right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I started with the guys about a year ago, and I mean, I've been with people in the past on games, and I mean, I came to these guys that were like 99.9% of the way there already. Yeah. I was so impressed. Like they've got such a good pedigree in the past anyway, that I had very finite detail to add. But it was really good. Yeah, I'd add some detail. I'd go away. I'd race at the event. I'd come back and then I'd try it. And within a week, it's already been updated. I mean, they've got 80,000 guys in the background plus the 108 guys that they've got in London and around the world in terms of staff working on it all the time. And that's what helps with the community putting their bits in too. Sure. It can be updated, changed, sent out. They can say if they like it or don't like it. and how it works actually in game. So when it releases, hopefully it's like Andy said, it's not been in the dark. Everyone's already decided this is exactly how we want it to be.
Yeah. So when we add weather in, as I said, like we want it to be innovative. So the weather in the game is dynamic. So you can be driving on lap 1 and it is absolutely clear day, you know, gorgeous. And then all of a sudden, like your pit engineer starts telling you there's a chance of rain or there's a chance that it's going to actually change weather in the next 5 minutes. On PlayStation 4, that pit engineer is going to come through the microphone on the DualShock 4. And of course, when that happens, of course, your visibility is going to go right down, so it's going to look amazing. But also, you're going to have to change your strategy. You know, it's going to be a lot more challenging. You're going to start aquaplaning, like there's going to be rain coming down all the time, so you're going to want to change your tires. How are you going to change your tires? Well, you're going to have to come into the pits. So pit stops is another feature that people have been asking for this type of game, and we've got in Project Cars. So, as I said, you know, whenever we add a feature, like in weather, for example, then it's added gameplay, variety, and extra challenge.
Do you have different viewpoints, or is it all first person?
Well, so you know, so we're all we're very you know, we're very conscious that people want to actually play from the real cockpit view as well. So we've actually got 3 internal views. So other companies, other games out there may only have 1. So we've got cockpit view, we've got helmet view, and we've got a kind of like a GoPro kind of like view as well in between the passenger seat and the main the driving view as well as exterior views as well. You know, people play games in very different modes, right? You know, so some people love the bumper cam, some people love like the chase view behind the car. So we've got all of those in there, and every single car has got an interior like that.
So Oliver, as a championship driver, which view do you prefer to use when you play?
Oh, let me guess.
Yeah, normally within the helmet or as close to real as I can get. And the other thing I love about the in-helmet cam, I mean, you might have seen it just before on the last clip, is the focus change. I mean, that kind of stuff you get where in real life, yeah, it's more ideal to have it in the game where everything is perfectly clear, but that's not how it is in real life. So how do you make it as real life and as simulate as possible is to do how it is, which is you see the focus ahead and everything in front of you is blurred, and then when you look to your wing mirror when someone's battling with you, it comes back into focus. I mean, that kind of realism means that we can use that as training, not just as kind of a bit of fun, but it's not that real now that these F1 simulators and things we used to have about 5 years ago that was the only way we could train. Nowadays, the public games, especially with Project Cars, are becoming so real that actual drivers can use them as training tools on the laptop or when they're away, sat in our RV before the race starts.
So tell me about the progression of the game, you know, what moving through the game is like, what you start out with and what you're trying to get to.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we're all racing fans. Even if we're not racing fans, we've all played like a bunch of racing games, right? And it seems like every single time that you play a racing game, you always start in the slow car, and you have to grind for cash to upgrade it to be something that's even fun, and then grind for even more cash to eventually get the car that you actually want to drive, right? So as I said, when we're talking innovation, we want to make sure that we're going to do something different with our career mode. We want to make sure that maybe change that kind of like traditional progression through the game. So in Project Cars, there is no currency whatsoever. Okay, all the cars and tracks are unlocked from day 1. You don't earn XP and level up and unlock, you know, have artificial unlock barriers in there to actually get hold of these. You can jump into a Le Mans prototype car from day 1 as soon as you want. You can jump into a kart, a supercar, a road car, a track day car, a touring car, a GT car, like anything you want, right? So then you can start thinking, well, okay, well, where's the progression? Where's the challenge in there, right? By removing, like, you're constantly thinking of, like, your bank balance, like, thinking how much cash I'm going to get, you then start thinking more like a driver. You then start thinking about your career, how you're actually going to progress through your career. So, the career mode in Project Cars is very similar to something you might experience in, like, Madden or FIFA or Tiger Woods, okay? So you create your driver, give him a first name, last name, all that kind of stuff. You're then asked, where do you want to start? What's your kind of chosen motorsport, your profession that you actually want to do? So there's a number of different motorsports on offer. As I said, we're drip feeding those via our website at the moment. But if you want a traditional kind of zero to hero kind of path, and start in karts and work your way all the way up to Le Mans prototype, you can do that. That's called a historic goal, okay? There are 3 historic goals in the game. One of them might be to be somebody like Michael Schumacher. We're here in Germany, right? So someone like Michael Schumacher, who is a defending champ of a certain championship, you know, and he does that year after year after year. You can do that. That is the defending champ historic goal. If you're someone who doesn't really know what they want to do and don't really know what kind of like form of car culture is your thing, or you're not really sure like where to find your feet, which motorsport you like, you can go after the Triple Crown, which is to win 3 different championships in 3 different motorsports. Of course, there's something there for the hardcore guys as well. Complete all 3 historic goals and you enter the Hall of Fame. So you can do any of these historic goals, you can do all of them, you can do them in any order, and as I said, it's very much like a Madden kind of a sports franchise kind of career, where you are trying to get scouted for different teams. You've got your manager and your race engineer like informing you of your progress. You've got a virtual social feed of like your fans giving you input on how you're doing, things like that. You're signing endorsement deals. You are getting invitations to certain exclusive events, things like that. As I said, it kind of puts the emphasis back on real world driving and like what, you know, how you feel, how your career wants to go. Okay.
And what about racing against other people or multiplayer components? How's that built in?
Yeah, so our logo is comprised of 4 stripes, and they equate to all the 4 different types of racing that you can do. Basically how you can play the game. So the first is career, you know, we just talked about that. The second is solo, so we want you to kind of play, you know, for those guys who just want to play on their own. Be like a quick race weekend or in a free practice or something like that. The third, as you say there, is online. Online is absolutely huge. We want people to be able to jump into races against in competitive multiplayer with large packs of people, and also be able to jump into join those races in progress. So I can start a qualifying session. You can jump into that qualifying session, then we can all go into the race together. You can make an online race with make it private with just your friends. You can make it friends only, so any of your friends can jump in. You can do it public, so anyone in the world can actually play there. And then the 4th stripe is community. We've been making the game alongside our community for a long period of time now. It would be hypocritical of us to bring the game out and not support the community afterwards. There's a suite of community features in the game there, and we'll be talking more about those next week.
Now you also are working on Oculus support.
Oculus and Project Morpheus, yeah.
Do you have any updates on that?
People who've got access to the game already, our WMD community, they can actually play the game with Oculus DK2 right now. And Oculus is perfect for, you've had a go on it yourself,
yeah,
right?
Exactly, yeah. Completely immersive. You can look down at when you're changing your brake mouse or when you're changing the gears, look round over your shoulder, see everything that you would see if you were the actual driver. I mean, complete 360 immersion. Yeah. It's really, really great to see. It's something I've never seen before or experienced in a game.
Yeah, and we found it gives you a gameplay advantage because, like a great 3D movie where all the kind of data is being thrown out at the screen, racing is great for that because all the data is coming from the horizon, like straight towards you. So what we found is you can judge distances better because you have a heightened sense of spatial awareness. So when you see the upcoming corner, you can judge the distance to it better, and therefore you get a better sense of like how to brake for that corner. So it actually makes you a better driver. And also what we found is people naturally like tilt their head into the corners as well. You know, it's a kind of a natural reaction, it seems, as well. So yeah, like Project Cars on with VR is like a killer app for it.
Sure. Oliver, do you have a favorite feature, favorite aspect of the game that you've played so far?
Like I said before, it probably would be the focusing. When you're in a single-seater car and everything you look at is how it would be in terms of true focus, and then having that weather change combined at the same time. I mean, being able to do all the test development in real life in a BAC mono and then drive it in the game on the track where we're going to have a championship, and then the rain changing as it would do in real life. It's just awesome, great fun.
Yeah. Project Cars is out November 14th, is that right?
November.
Just November.
November 14 this year.
Maybe that's
there we go.
Coming November. PC,
Xbox One, PS4. PlayStation 4, and then next year on Wii U and SteamOS.
So Wii U is still coming. Yeah. I think we need to wrap things up here. I think the League of Legends guys are about to rise up.
I know, they're going to stream in, aren't they? Okay.
I think there's an emergency exit right over here if we need to bounce. But gentlemen,
cool.
Thank you so much for coming by the show.
Andy,
Andy,
Thank
Oliver.
you.
Thanks very much.
It looks very cool. Enjoy the rest of Gamescom.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Stay tuned. We have lots more to come on IGN Live from Gamescom right after these messages brought to you by Dead Island 2.